Calix Boxing here with D-Style Boxing, a fresh week. It is Monday, and we are here with HCP Aftermath. This is the Aftermath. We have some fights, some fun fights. We had a fun weekend of fights this past weekend. I was thoroughly entertained. We found out some things, and, we'll see what we have going forward with these fighters. Um, anyway, start off. How's your Monday going so far, D-Style Boxing?
It's still morning over here, Mountain Time, so just chilling and looking forward to this boxing talk for sure.
Leigh Wood. This guy's starting to put off Arturo Gatti vibes. Is that how you're feeling with this? I mean, it just every time he seems to be counted out, he comes back with something. I mean, if you look at his recent resume, you have Zukan, you have Mick Conlon, 12th round, right? Knockout. And then you got Mauricio Lara, right? And then he can't beat him. And then he comes back and wins that fight, gets vengeance. And now we've got it again. We've got Warrington is beating him and beating him soundly. He was beating him soundly and beating him up because I'm tweeting during the fight, D-Style. I don't know if you felt the same way. I can't stand watching Josh Warrington fight. I cannot stand watching Josh Warrington fight. And look, nothing against the Josh Warrington fans out there. You like what you like. It's fine. Everybody's entitled to like what they like. I don't like the constant rabbit punching. I don't like the constant holding and hitting in the clinch. I don't like when anybody does it. And he just seems to rough guys up that way. And he was doing it to Leigh Wood. But as I'm watching this fight go on, I still think Leigh Wood is live. One, because this is what he does, right? He stays in fights. But number two, in between him coming in and roughing up Leigh Wood, Leigh Wood was catching him with some good shots as Warrington is jumping in. And he did that at the end of the 7th round, and he finished it off. That was a beautiful 3 to 4 punch combination to finish it off. Everything was right there, short, landed where it was supposed to land. And I have my thoughts on the stoppage. I'll save that. First of all, what'd you think about the fight? And Leigh Wood just in general at this point? You're on mute.
Well, look, I enjoyed the fight. I thought Warrington came out like a bat out of hell, like and went straight at Leigh Wood. Like he did not make the same mistake Lara made in the rematch with Wood, or even in the first fight where Lara tried to he allowed Leigh Wood to settle in. He allowed Wood to box for the first few rounds, and by the time he started applying pressure, you already allowed this guy to get in a groove, and now you're trying to come from behind. Warrington got to hit him, right? I gotta say, if he were to fight him again, I would probably tell him to do the same thing because it was working, right?
Yeah.
With a couple of tweaks here and there, obviously, because he got caught. But I'm with you. I saw him get caught several times. A couple rounds before that, Leigh Wood caught him with a really good hook, and Warrington took it very well. But one thing I noticed, even when Warrington would come in, hit him with 2-3 shots, Wood would always get that one shot in. Almost always. He was always hitting him back with something, right? And then that kind of made me feel like, okay, he's still in the fight. It's not going like I thought. I thought Leigh Wood would be in more control. And he later revealed that he caught me with a good one early. My equilibrium was off a little bit. I was a little, whatever you want to call it, oozy, whatever, but he wasn't all there. You know what I mean? So he had to restore his balance. And credit to Warrington, he kept the pressure. He kept, mounting the offense on him. His offense was his defense pretty much in this fight. And although I don't like a lot of the things Warrington does, in this fight it worked, and it didn't make the fight boring. The fight was still interesting to watch. And maybe it's the aura from the crowd. Maybe that's what it is. The crowd was really into the fight. Leigh Wood, you can't count this guy out. Especially when he's still landing back, even if we're getting the best of him. If he's still landing back, he's still in the fight. And I didn't even think about it, but yes, I as I thought about it while you were kind of giving your thoughts, it is similar to Arturo Gatti in a sense. It is. I wouldn't put him fully there, but I'll say it's very similar in that sense. It's that comeback kid. That should be his nickname, Leigh Wood, the comeback kid. When he put Warrington out, Warrington was out. Warrington gets up, bro, and he walks over to the ropes. Like he's looking at, like, he's just like, what's up? He's having a conversation with God. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's up, God? You're real, man. It's over. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, what was he
So you were
looking
fine
at?
with the stoppage, right? Because I saw some
I am.
controversy, and I have my thoughts on it. But go
Yeah,
ahead. You're
well,
fine with it.
Warrington added to the controversy by saying he feels like he was robbed, and I was fine. I mean, I was listening to him. I heard him, like the ref doesn't want to know if you're listening to him. He wants to know that you're looking at him, right? Everyone knows you're supposed to get up, look at the ref, let him know you're okay. Give him your gloves. You know what I mean? He's gonna tug your wrist a little bit and wipe the shirt so there's no, like, dirt or whatever on your gloves, and also to see your balance. That's what you do. You don't go have tea with God in the corner. What are you doing? He went in the corner I'm like, what are you doing, Warrington? Like he thought the round was over. He was walking back to his corner or something. It was very bizarre, but clearly the reason it didn't make sense because he was out of it. He was out on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when he heard that's it, he's getting his faculties back. I feel for him a little bit because if he did feel okay, I get it, but it's your fault because you were walking away from the ref, bro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying you were walking away from the ref, but and you didn't show the ref that you were good to go by the time the ref got to 8. You know what I mean? Like that's the truth. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
He
So
said he turned around at 6. Is that true? I mean, I don't know about that, but
I could see both sides of it, right? He turned around before 8. That's for sure. That's for sure. He turned around before
okay.
8. But here's the problem that I have with it, and why I agree with the stoppage. And I could see both sides of it. Once again, I always say you should use common sense if you're the referee in the fight. In that, if it's a competitive fight, this guy's won every round up until this point, except maybe one in this one, and it's a close fight at that point, right? You got to give him the opportunity, especially if you hear the final bell ring. The guy turns around, he sees you at 8, let him sit on the stool and let him go. I get that part of it. But where I don't feel bad for them is Warrington's team, I feel, made a mistake. They got up on the ring apron. And you don't get up on the ring apron until the round is over. What
Yeah.
did people always bring up when it comes to the Meldrick Taylor stoppage? It's that he was distracted by his corner, right?
Baduva, yeah.
He's distracted by Duva. Um, he's distracted by Duva, who comes up on the ring apron, and he's looking at him instead of at the referee. And Warrington's team made the very same mistake. He's knocked down. He's knocked down before the final bell. You have to allow him to answer the count, and then you get up on the ring apron. And they clearly distracted Warrington. Warrington
Yeah.
is looking at them, talking to them, and by the time he turns around, the referee's like, stop, fight over, fight over. So I get both sides of it, but at the same time, I think his team made a mistake. They did him a disservice, and I don't have a problem with the stoppage.
It's
I
very
don't.
similar to the Canelo Plant first knockdown, where Plant got up and Plant went for a jog, like literally across the ring,
Mhm.
and the ref went after him to keep the count to let, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what the ref should have done. I think maybe the ref should have been like pursuing him, like 3, 4, like, just be on him, like, you know what I mean. Like, hey, I don't want no excuses because as a ref, and they should do it because, hey, you want to make sure no one says shit to you. Like, hey, I did
Yeah.
everything I could. You know what I mean? Because if you were to ask me, you think the ref did everything he could to make sure Warrington couldn't continue? I would say no, right? He didn't do everything. And I'm not saying refs should go out of their way either, though. But he could have maybe done what the ref in the Plant Canelo fight did, like literally run after him and
Mhm.
count, so Plant knew, okay, yo, I'm gonna count here, right? And maybe if you pursued him, maybe he turns around or whatnot. But I think the reason they were on the apron was probably because they thought what we thought. They thought it was out, right?
Yeah.
And he got up almost in vain. It was in vain. Like, he just got up, and to me, he looked out of it. I think
He
what would have
was.
finished, he would have finished the job if they would
Yeah.
have continued that fight. So maybe it was meant to happen. But I get it, right? If he wants to say, look, I'm a fighter. Let me go out of my shield. I beat the count. We've seen guys, Wood's one of them, right? We've seen guys, come back and still win, right? So I could hurt him. I hurt him early in the fight. I was hurting him throughout the fight. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? But great finish by Wood.
Mhm.
Like he had to
Yeah.
put those punches together, and like he had to be clutch in that moment, and he was, and he finished the job. You know, he's been in a similar situation. It happened to him in the you know, with Lara. You know what I mean? His trainer threw in the towel, but he was in that situation where he was winning the fight. He gets knocked down. He looks extremely hurt. They stopped it. But credit to Wood. Wood was more of a good sport about it. Like if you remember, Wood just gave Lara credit and say, "Hey, let's run it back."
Yeah.
The question is, do you want to see this one run back?
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. And it's at 130. It seems to me when it comes to Leigh Wood, everybody views him as the constant overachiever because that's what he is, right? The comeback kid. And the issue with that, though, is there is a ceiling there, right? So when we talk about possible unifications that are out there for him at 126, I don't think some of those favor him as well. And I think Eddie understands that. And he understands that he can continue to build this guy and keep his career going with meaningful wins against better stylistic matchups for him, right? Warrington, Lara, although he said at the time Lara wasn't a good stylistic matchup for him. That's the confusing part about that, but he beats him. Mick Conlon was supposed to be a fight he lost. But I think at a certain point, that runs out if you get in there with elite competition, right? So if they move him up to 130 and put him in there with Cordina D style, I think that's a loss, to be honest. And it's not, I'm a Leigh Wood fan, but I think
But
Cordina
but
beats him. I
but
think
but
Shaq
that's
Foster
why
beats him at 130.
maybe. But guess what? Leigh Wood has been counted out multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Lara was considered the best 130-pound fighter on the planet because he destroyed Warrington. He knocks out Wood, right? And everybody thought, oh, he's going to do it again. And he didn't. So, like, Warrington gave Lopez a pretty good fight. Cordina's good, but can Wood take him to places Cordina hasn't been to yet?
Yeah.
Like he's got experience here. So like, I would rather see Wood and because him and Warrington can always rematch, even if it's not for a belt. It's
Yeah.
a domestic rivalry, right? Sheffield beating the shit out of Leeds. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Everybody said I hated Sheffield. These are you call it Sheffield. What's the matter with you? You haters. No, I love Sheffield. And Sheffield shit on Leeds. You know what I mean? But with that said, in all seriousness, it's all banter. But they could always fight later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right now, I want to see unifications. That's the trajectory. I want to see everyone point towards unifications. I
Or
want to
he can,
see.
well, he said after the fight, though, I'm done with 126. And that's another part of this D style is he weight drained and still winning fights? Because he said, I'm done. I'm giving my belt away. I'm done. I got to move up to 130. So that's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like
if he doesn't, well, obviously, if he doesn't, then he's looking at a Cordina fight. You know what I mean?
Cordina. That's what I'm
But
saying.
that's a
They could do
big
that fight.
fight. Like I'm sure he loves
It is.
money.
That's a big fight.
Isn't it like England versus Wales or something?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Unless I'm
and
wrong
and
about that. But
there's a particular venue he wants to fight at. I think it's called the fairgrounds or whatever it's called out there. He wants to fight there. He's been wanting to fight there, and that's where Eddie wants to put a fight, and it'll be a big fight. And he continues to gain momentum. I'm sure he's gaining even more of a crowd out there. He's gaining a following here as we watch him fight because I'm sure you're a fan of him, his fighting style as I am at this point. A year or two ago, he wouldn't have said that. So he's
yeah, it's
gaining
from Cardiff,
momentum.
Wales. So look, Cordina. Wales supports their fighters, bro. Like they only get one every blue moon, so they support. Like they call us that, they'll fill out stadiums for him, right? So there's a stadium fight they could do between those two, which would be crazy. Like 230 pounders sound out of stadium in England. I don't think that's ever been done.
Mm.
I know Haddon did it, but he was at 140 and 147. The heavyweights obviously do it, but like, can they pull it off? That'll be
Calzaghe,
interesting. And yes,
Calzaghe,
and by the way, I know. Carl Frott sold out Wembley. Whatever. Well, I'm talking about
80,000.
130. Okay, that's right. Even though I think Fury broke the record, so poor guy.
Yeah, he
Um,
did.
But can they do it? I don't know. They'll sell it out, but they could probably pack it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I would need someone like from there to tell us, like, yo, that's a fight that could do a stadium. But look, maybe he has to settle for an arena. I don't know. But
Either
I,
way,
now that
he's
you
put
mentioned, I want to see that fight now. I want to see Cordina against what?
yeah. Either way, he's put together a hell of a recent resume and done meaningful things at 126. And on top of that, he's got something to look forward to going forward because after his last fight with Lara, he said, I got a couple fights left in me. I want to do a couple things, fight a couple people. But he's got a good 2 or 3 fight, you know, short term plan going forward to where he can make a good bit of money and fight in some winnable fights. And that's what we've got here. I don't expect him to see him ever come over here, but he doesn't have to. And he can win meaningful title fights at 130. The future's bright for Leigh Wood. I
Yeah,
mean,
but they would. He
he's
would.
done
He's
something in the twilight of his career that is meaningful, and he's
Yeah, but
put.
Calix, one thing we got to keep in mind is that Leigh Wood sounds like a guy that wants a big fight to call it a day. That's what he comes. That's
Yeah.
how it comes off to me, right?
Yep.
And I've heard him in interviews saying, he doesn't want to be doing this forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now he feels like he's made it, and who's to say he hasn't? Right? He became world champion, right? That's something he chased for. He was known. This is the guy that was just known as a domestic fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's watching, the Kid Gallahans and the Warringtons of the world get title shots, and he's over here like just a domestic dude. And then he's just seen as an opponent for Conlon. Like that's what he was. That's why Top Rank sent Conlon over there to go grab that belt.
Yep.
That's what. And he did look like an opponent for a good portion of that fight up until I think the 7th or 8th. He started to make a fight of it. And then he got that late round Crawford style knockout, kind of like Fraud did to Taylor. You know what I mean? Like it was just at the very end, right? So I want to see Leigh Wood fight Cordina. If he's going to move up, that's the fight to make. It's a domestic fight, which means it sells tickets, but it's for a world title, and that's our dude, bro. Joe Cordina. We're gonna pronounce it that way because he's like, you know what I mean. We're gonna adopt him on this side. You know what I mean? From Wales.
And shout out to Leigh Wood, great victory. I think he's fighter of the weekend, and he continues his streak going. But I do favor Cordina slightly in that fight. But hopefully we get it because that's the fight I want. What did you think of Zordo against Joe Smith Jr.? I'm gonna tell you something right now. On Friday, and sometimes it pays to wait to bet on a fight. I found out this is a 10-round fight and not a 12-round fight on Friday with everybody else. And I found out that Joe Smith Jr. with everybody else, that Joe Smith Jr. is the one who requested it be a 10-round fight instead of a 12-round fight. So that Joe Smith Jr. has done that once before. He lost that fight. And that triggered to me that maybe he's not in the best fighting shape that he's been in the past. I liked Zordo and how he looked at the weigh-in. I thought he was going to fill in cruiserweight much better than Joe Smith Jr. And we would see a fresher Zordo than we've seen in the recent past. And on top of that, Joe Smith Jr., I felt in a 10-round fight would see the final bell. So on Friday, I made the bet. I bet Zordo by decision, not to brag, but I just felt like that was the more common sense bet, right? It was the more common sense. Once I found out it's a 10-round fight, I don't know if you felt the same way. 10-round fight, Joe Smith Jr. requested it. Zordo is going to be a little fresher, but Joe Smith Jr. is tough. I think he'll last the 10 rounds.
Yeah, my official pick was either late stoppage or decision, but I lean towards decision. I just feel like, regardless of anything Joe Smith requested, I would have, at any point in history, even at 175, I would have always picked Zordo. Zordo Ramirez is a good boxer, bro. I know people don't say that about him a lot, and I saw people saying things like, wow, Zordo showed boxing skill in his fight. Like, they're shocked. Like, no, like, Zordo's a good boxer. In fact, the reason a lot of his fights are boring, he was known as Zordo, is because he was just outboxing his opponents. He was 10-9, 10-9, 10-9 them throughout the rounds. Like, you know what I mean? It's just that just didn't work when he ran into Bivol, because like Bivol's a master boxer in there. You know what I mean? and faster on his feet and quicker and just more clever in there, right? Like Bivol's like the T1000 and Zordo's like the T800. It's just a little slower. That's all.
Other than the Bivol fight, Zordo's been in fun fights the past couple of years.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like everyone put the scarlet letter on the guy that he's a Zordo, he's boring,
I did.
but he would, yeah, like that Cuban guy. I forget his name. That was an exciting fight, and he got a stoppage out of it. He's been in some good fights. Like that's how I feel about it. And this fight was a good fight, but I always felt like, and you saw in the fight, he's a more polished boxer than Joe Smith, and he's got a good jab, a good straight. His punches are straighter most of the time. He's better at countering, and Joe Smith needs to overwhelm you and overpower you, and he just wasn't going to do that, Zerdo. So that's why I felt. Because what, the question for me wasn't who was going to win. The question was, can Zordo stop him, right? And I mean, I thought decision was the safe bet, to be honest, and I think the odds probably showed that.
I bet that, but I wasn't as sure as you were. I don't think. I mean, I still gave Joe Smith Jr. that shot, right? Because he's the hardworking man, right? And he can win some rounds. And maybe Zordo doesn't show up, right? Anytime you see a guy miss weight by that much, maybe his head's still not in it. Maybe his head's not in it anymore, right? So there was that wild card. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm not confident about it, but 10-round fight. Joe Smith Jr. requested it. I was sort of on the fence going into that, but once I saw that leaned me
But you know
towards
what?
Zordo.
The reason I felt like he couldn't hurt because Zordo was not going to have to train himself to make weight.
Yep.
This is definitely Zordo's. Like it wasn't Joe Smith that requested 190, whatever they requested. That was Zordo, right? And that's a bit. It just reminds you of like when Andy Lee fought Chavez, and Chavez was probably on some diuretic to rehydrate, and Andy Lee was just beating the hell out of him, but nobody knew it because he wasn't even moving Chavez. You know what I mean? Like, and then when Chavez touched him, like, it was a wrap. It was just heavy in that fight, and I feel that not only is the better boxer, which is Zordo in this case, the better boxer, but he's also the bigger man and heavier. You know what I mean? So that's how I saw it.
I kind of disagree with Shusha in here. I agree with them on the scorecards. It was too high. You're right about that. I think Joe Smith Jr. Probably got 3 rounds out of this, but he didn't win the fight. Zordo clearly won the fight. But I'll say this. I like the earlier start times that the zone seems to give us. I like just get to it. I don't need to see a main event at 11 p.m. Central time. And by that time, it's midnight Eastern time. I think Shushine's over on the West Coast, so maybe it's a little different. But I like the earlier start times. I don't know if you agree with me on that. I like
let's get it out of the way. Like, what are we doing? Well, what are we waiting for? Why do we want to wait? Let's just get it done. That's how I feel about it.
Do you so the question now is Zordo's clearly not going back down. Does he translate to cruiser? If you look at the champions there, like the Opatais, the Badu Jack, I know Opatais is a different beast. I think Opatai is the best cruiserweight in the world. Even Amaris Bradis, how does he translate to cruiserweight?
I think his best shot, but I don't even think he has the belt anymore, would have been Badu Jack. But I would favor Badu Jack.
Badu Jack still has the belt. He does.
Does he? Okay, so that's his best bet.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know what I mean? But I would favor Badu Jack. But he ain't gonna fucking know Jai Opatai or Bradis. Like it ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean?
No.
And then some of the bigger ones, like we're talking about the ones that cut weight to make 200 and they rehydrate to like 225 or some shit. Like those guys, I don't know. I don't think Zordo's gonna have the same problem that like Chavez Jr. had when he moved up to light heavyweight. You know what I mean? Yeah. All of a sudden, he couldn't hurt these guys because you're fighting guys a lot bigger than you now. Now you're the little guy. Right?
They're big dudes, man. And Americans aren't as familiar with them because none of them are American. I mean, I put out a tweet about this yesterday. North of 154, if you look in the top 10 rankings, we don't have any champions besides Jamal Charlo at 160, and he shouldn't be champion. And even if you look at the top 10, we don't have American fighters there.
Maybe if Makabu had a belt, like maybe I could give Zordo a good shot against him.
Maybe Golda Marion, as somebody put, there. But Jai
Or
Opatai's not
Coley.
going to be the guy. I think Battle Jack's a good fight. I would pick Battle Jack though.
That's an interesting fight. Bottle Jack is up there in age, so you never know. But I don't know. Like, what is Zordo going to do? Like, this is a weird weight. Like, you got to fight at 200 or it's 175, bro.
Yeah.
And brings me back to this. Now, not to bring an old subject, but if you remember back in the Hellstorm days, you and I had a discussion or debate about adding another weight class. Right? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
Now, years later, Suleiman added Bridger weight. A shout out to Bridger Walker, who saved his sister from a rabid dog, right? that was going to kill the sister, and he deformed his face, protecting his sister like the young warrior that he is. I don't know what happened to the dog, but I heard the dog went out to Tim Zoo next. You know what I mean? But that's not where they should have put the weight class, 225 pounds. Like, that's stupid. Calix, I'm still an advocate that they should add a weight class at 185 or 190. We need a weight class there. That there is. No, hear me out. Hear me out. Let's let the chat decide. You know what I mean? Like, there's too much of a gap from 175 to 200. It's too big of a gap. When guys are struggling to make 175, and now they got to go fight these beasts, these 6'4" dudes and shit. Like, you know what I mean? They got you wanted to go get killed by giant shit. You know what I mean? You wanted to go get annihilated by Bradus. Like, it's unfair, bro. These guys are too big. Look at Usyk. Usyk's the current heavyweight champion. He used to fight a cruiserweight. You know what I mean? Like that's how big they are. Now, if we create a weight class at 185, right? I'll even settle for 190. That's where cruiserweight used to be, right? It gives a place for like the Kovalevs of the world that couldn't make 175 no more. For the Zordos of the world that can't make 175 no more. For the hardworking man he's just trying to make $1 out here, right? To give him a weight class as well, right? And other fighters, right, that struggle to make 175. And my argument will be this. There's a weight class at 185 in MMA and UFC, and that is a hot weight class for them. Adesanya is the current champion in that weight class. Anderson Silva used to be the champion of that weight class. Oh, Adesanya lost, but nonetheless, right? Anderson Silva had a long reign there in that weight class. You can create talent. You can have talent fight at 190 or 185. I'm an advocate for it. We should do a poll about it. I think I will.
You're advocating for another weight class when we have 7. Wait, what is Bridgerweight at? What is the Bridgerweight weight? Because I don't even pay that. That weight class does not exist in the Calix household. I can tell you that.
Okay, so 225. Let's get rid of it, but let's still pay homage to Bridger, and let's put it the bridge between cruiserweight and 175.
Bridger gets nothing. Bridger gets nothing.
You can't say that about Bridger. You can't say that.
No, Bridger could get a GoFundMe. Like, we can GoFund him.
No, you can't talk about Bridger that way.
Give him an honorary belt. Give him a GoFundMe, but he does not get a weight class. Nobody gets a weight class.
This guy saved his sister from a rabid dog. The dog had like the white shit coming out of its mouth and shit, bro. You know what I mean? And he saved the sister, bro.
You can't create a weight class at 190, 185. These out.
MMA does it.
MMA has less weight classes, though. They have bigger gaps in between weight classes.
Let's get rid of minimum weight. I'm all for it. It's cool, but let's add one at 105. I'm sorry, at 185. It's unfair to the dudes that are too big for 175, bro. It's unfair to them because like now they got to go fight the like 6'4" dudes that come in at 225 on fight night.
Okay, so nobody in America pays attention to those guys anyway. Nobody pays attention to what's going on between 175 and 200 here, which I don't agree with, but that's just how it is. So you want to compete? You want to create another weight class for people not to pay attention to? Is that what I'm hearing?
What I want boxing to get with the times. The weight classes are outdated. Human beings have gotten bigger since 1912. Okay, let's get with the times here, right? We need to bump up some of these weight classes, bro, just a little bit. I'm just saying, or move light heavyweight to 190, and then move super middleweight to 170. Let's do that.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't. I
But
just
that's
don't
what I
want
mean.
another
But
weight
we,
class.
we need we need a weight class between 200 and 175. That is a like a deserted island, bro. How much wasted talent have we had that couldn't make 175 no more, and they got screwed over because they have to go all the way up to cruiserweight?
No.
Think about it.
But the guys at cruiserweight aren't big enough to fight at heavyweight. So are they really that big? Are they giants, like you say, that these guys who can't make light heavyweight are they've grown out of that
Yeah,
division? Are they really?
explain to me, why do we go from 160 to 168? That's 8 pounds,
Uh-huh.
right? And then we go from 168 to 175. That's 7 pounds, which makes no sense. Well, why are we going less pounds after that? I have no idea, right? But nonetheless, what's going on? And then you got to go from 175 to 200, bro. And I don't want to hear the argument. There's just not enough bodies. No, there is enough bodies. There's more. There's more guys fighting at light heavyweight and cruiserweight than there is fighting at minimum weight. Minimum
See what
weight,
you're
and
doing? You see what you're doing? You're giving people ideas to create even more weight classes. This is
I
your fault.
want
This is your fault.
sensible. I want sensible reform in the name of Bridge. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
my God.
want. I feel like right now the guys at 175 and 200 they're being attacked by rabid dogs like you. Like they don't want to allow them to have a weight class. And we
So
need
you
a
want
bridger to come in and create that bridge of hope to give these guys a fair weight class to fight on. That's all I'm saying.
this is what I think you want. I think you want super heavyweight north of 250. You want heavyweight 225 to 250. And then you want bridger weight. You want bridger weight somewhere between 200 and 225. And then you want another weight class. You want too many weight classes. You're making this thing too confusing. It's already
No,
it's
no, no, no.
already too
We're not
confusing.
making anything confusing. We just need a weight class between 200 and 175. Just like, imagine the MMA did this. Imagine if George St. Pierre, right, could never go fight, Bisping at 185. He had to go all the way up and fight John Jones.
I
Think
don't
about
know
how
what you're
crazy
talking.
that sounds.
I
It
don't even
sounds
know what.
crazy when you put it in MMA terms, right? When you
Uh-huh.
put it in MMA terms, we got to learn from our cousins over there in MMA. You know what I mean? We got to learn from. Haven't you said that? We got to learn
Uh,
from MMA, learn from Dana White,
Learn
and
the
and
good
make
things, not the
good.
bad things.
The 185 is not a bad thing. It's a big weight class for them.
Uh,
I want everyone who watches both sports. Imagine all the welterweights in UFC, which is 170 pounds, had to go. There was no weight class in between. They had to go all the way up and fight the light heavyweights, right? Like John Jones and shit. Imagine if that's what boxing is doing. It's unfair. I'm just saying. I am an advocate for the guys that are having a hard time making 175 just by 0.2 pounds, and now Cal's to throw them in there with Jai Opatai. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Look, if you wanna change the weights of each weight class, I'm fine. If you want to put light heavy at 185, that's fine. I just don't. I don't want to create another weight class. I'm out on that one. But if I can meet you in the middle, I can meet you in the middle and change the weights. We can do that. We can do that. But we ain't we ain't creating no more weight classes. That's one thing we are not doing. We are not creating more weight classes. We are not we are not gonna we're not gonna have a heavyweight division, a super heavyweight division at 250 plus. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna have a bridger weight. We're not gonna have a weight class named after a kid that was eaten by a dog at 225. We're just not gonna do that when we already have heavyweights fighting at 225. Y'all are trying to make an already confusing sport more confusing. So we're not gonna do that. Look, in the meantime, Zordo Ramirez is going to have to figure out how to fight between 175 and 200 and win a belt there. He's going to have to figure out how to win meaningful fights there and market himself when there are no American fighters at cruiserweight. That's what they got. And why are they going to have to do that? Because he can't make light heavyweight anymore. And that's just the way it is. And people are going to have to deal with it. But at the same time, if D-Style wants to do some sort of reform to make light heavyweight at 185 and then make cruiserweight between 185 and 200 or 185 and 210 and then have heavyweight start at 210, I'm fine with that. Do whatever you want to do with that. But we have to keep, if we do anything with the weight classes, we cannot increase them. If we do anything with them, we have to decrease the amount of weight classes. If we want to learn from our cousins over there at the UFC and the mixed martial arts world, learn that from them. Less weight classes, more of a gap between each weight class, spread them out a little bit, force these fighters to be fighters and fight actual fights. Maybe, just maybe, that will help with our problem of guys draining themselves as much as they're draining themselves because they have more weight classes to drain themselves in. But I don't know. It is what it is with that. Let me get to this super chat real quick. Remy says, salute. Canelo is ducking Crawford and Batman. And this is what I've been saying. I've been warning people. I've been telling people for years about this. And I've been warning you fairly recently that this doesn't end. It doesn't end. And somebody intelligently hit me up on Twitter about this morning because I said, which one is it? Is Canelo ducking the flat-footed fighter at super middleweight, a style that has never given him issues, or is he ducking the guy 3 weight classes beneath him? And I want people to put this in the chat. Is it possible? Is it remotely possible to duck a guy that is 3 weight classes south of you? Just put it in the chat. Put yes or no. Is it possible for a fighter to duck a guy that is 3 weight classes south of him? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is it? But what I've warned you about is it doesn't end. And someone intelligently put this, hit me up about this on Twitter earlier. They said, let me get this real quick. Okay. They replied to me earlier. Where this ends with Canelo is it's just a weak era. That's where this eventually ends. That's the end of this because what happens the likely scenario is Canelo beats this guy and then he beats this guy and then he beats this guy. He beats all of his perceived boogeymen, right? And I've told people, like, if you want to see Canelo's boogeyman, it's Dimitri Bivol. He already beat him last year. He already beat, and Dimitri Bivol talked himself out of a rematch. He's too busy, allegedly, fighting his wife. But this is the thing. If he beats Benavidez, if he beats Crawford, if he beats those guys, what's it going to end up being? If he beats Jamal and Boo Boo, it was just a weak era. It's just a weak era. It's a weak era. I'm confused because now you're saying it's a weak era, but before he doesn't fight any slick black fighters. He can't fight guys in lateral movements. He was ducking Bud Crawford, which I don't understand it. I don't understand how this is getting legs. How do you duck a guy that is 3 weight classes less than you? You are super middleweight. This guy's welterweight. How are you ducking him? It'd be like Tank Davis ducking Naomi in a way. How are you ducking a guy that's 3 weight classes south of you? And it's what I say. It's Canelo derangement syndrome. Canelo derangement syndrome does not allow for you to think clearly when it comes to Canelo. When they hear the name Canelo, when they hear Canelo or Alvarez or anything, it could be Ginger. When they see the color red, everything makes them think of Canelo. And when that happens, they short circuit. They lose their brain cells. The brain cells just start firing in all kinds of different directions, and they can't think or see clearly. Where this ends is if Canelo will fight Bud Crawford, he likely beats Bud Crawford. He's bigger. If he loses, and this is what Canelo is trying to tell people, it's like, dude, what do I gain from that? What do I gain from that? If I beat him, I beat a guy 3 weight classes south of me. So I don't understand how this is considered a duck. And I don't understand why we've moved on from Benavidez to Crawford, from the same people who for 2 years have been telling me that Benavidez is the one that Canelo's ducking. D-Style, can you make sense of any of this?
Well, look. I don't know what people don't know or don't understand. I saw that they're using look, first of all, I understand why Crawford wants to fight. You know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong. So I'm not mad at Crawford for calling for the fight and I do believe he thinks he can win too. So it's not even a matter of him just clout chasing or let me make that very clear.
By the way, I think we both agree he would perform better than Maul. I mean,
100%.
Probably Maul too. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Second, I wouldn't be against the fight. If the fight happened, it is the biggest fight in boxing right now. That fight, like whether we like it or not, it doesn't matter. Like that is the biggest fight. That would be billed as the two greatest of the generation going at it, right? However, it is random. It is out of nowhere, right? Crawford himself has contradicted himself. So he wants to call out Canelo for, oh, you said you would come down to 160 if fight spent. Well, that was like 2-3 years ago. He said that. He didn't say that last week. But last month you said that if Canelo comes down to 160, you'll fight him. Or 158, I think you said.
158 was the initial.
You're the one that switched it up in just the last few weeks. You know what I mean?
He's the one who said he would not come up to middleweight because those guys are big up there. That's what he said.
That's exactly what he said. Another thing he said was, why would I fight? If I beat Tank, I'm not going to get any credit for beating up Tank Davis.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what Canelo's referencing. If we want to be more specific. Just like he said, if he fight Tank, no credit, or me, what is my credit? You know what I mean? Like Canelo has a high 800 credit score. He doesn't want his credit affected. You know what I mean? Like beating Bud Crawford, if we're honest, I would give Canelo credit for that because I actually don't think it's an easy fight. I'm just going to put that out there.
Me neither.
I think Canelo wins, but I think it's not an easy fight. So I would give him credit. But you think all these raw drums of war dudes would give him credit?
Mm-mm.
If anything, let me tell you something. Let me tell everybody right now. A lot of these dudes don't even like Crawford. They don't like Canelo either. This is called, process of elimination to them. That's really what it is to a lot of them. Like, it's what I think. A lot of dudes out there, they're just throwing shit out there. Like, they're just bombarding narratives at this point because they don't know where to go. They can't give a specific guy. You know what I mean? Like, where's your dude? Like, what's up with Benavidez? Why am I not here? Why are you guys out here now talking about Crawford when 2 months ago you were talking about Benavidez? Benavidez, oh, he's ducking. Bro, I haven't seen these dudes back in the chat. We couldn't do a show with Canelo's name on it without, why is your boy ducking Benavidez? They're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And that's how I know a lot of them are full of shit. They're not really like Crawford fans. Because I ain't seen them here. I've yet to see in the chat anybody, you're ducking Crawford. Like, this is crazy, bro. It's crazy. It's ludicrous. Look, they could do the fight, but let's do the Benavidez fight first. Okay?
Yes.
Let's settle the score 168 once and for all, right? Once Canelo does that, once he slays the beast at 168, then you could do the fight. Right? And if Benavidez pulls off the win and beats Canelo, what, is Crawford going to move up to fight the winner? Is he going to fight Benavidez?
Yeah.
Or is he going to say he's too big? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when does this end, bro? You know what I mean? Like, I honestly believe the Benavidez fight is a tougher fight. It's got to be honest. It's a more physically taxing fight. So if I was here trying to protect Canelo, I'd be advocating for a Bud Crawford fight.
Yeah.
But I'm a boxing fan first. And since we're boxing fans first, we advocate for the fights that we want first, right? Like, that's a fight. I just want the Benavidez fight, bro. I want the Benavidez fans back, bro. I want them to talk shit again. What's going on? Where they at?
Yeah.
They couldn't leave me alone. They could have stopped harassing me on Instagram. Like, you know what I mean? And now I wish I would have never said, can they go away already? Like now I miss them, bro. Like, I kind of feel like I'm just like, you you ever see like when that episode, Tom and Jerry, where Jerry disappears, Jerry dies, and then Tom's like,
what do I do now?
What do I do now, man? Like going at it with that dude was my life. You know what I mean? But not that going with Benavidez fans is my life, but but I want to hear those drums of war again, bro. I need it. I come on, let's go. A lot of this is just contrived shit. A lot of people don't even believe what they're saying. Like it's they can't take him serious. I'm just saying, like, but now Canelo's ducking. He's ducking Crawford. How the fuck is he ducking Crawford, bro? Like Crawford's not even campaigning in his weight class yet. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know how you feel about this. I'm a firm believer that guys should win a fight against a top 10 guy in the weight class before they fight for the belt. I've always been a believer in that. It would put a stop to a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
But Crawford, okay, you can fight Canelo, but you're going to have to beat one of these top 10 super middleweights first. It'll put a stop to all of it, bro. I'm telling you.
I want to see Benavidez fight. I'm with you on that. And as somebody who is both a fan of Canelo and Crawford, I think that's documented, well documented. I want to see them handle business in and around their division and not fight each other. And that's not because I don't want to see one of them lose. That's not what it is. It's this comes off more. And look, I've said it. It's probably the bigger fight financially. If we're being maybe I don't know. I don't really know.
We're guessing,
But it will be a big fight with the casuals, right? But it comes off too novelty-ish for me. Three weight classes apart. I understand it, but two top pound for pound fighters, but it's too novelty-ish. Just like I'd rather see Inoue handle business around 122 and Tank handle business at 135. That's the same way I feel about this. I want to see Crawford, if you're going to go to 154, start handling business at 154. I'd rather see Crawford Tim Zoo. If Mel wants to step down and say, "Hey, I'm still the king at 154. Let's do it." I'd rather see Mel versus Crawford at 154, and then I want to see the fight at 168, which is Canelo versus Benavidez. And if Benavidez beats Bubu Andrade, I'm with you. It's time. It's time. Do that fight in May. I understand. Look, they want to do the mall fight. They feel like they can make money from it in May. I don't really like that fight, but it answers the Canelo haters and detractors, right? The Canelo haters and detractors for years have been saying what? He can't beat slick black fighters. So look, I'll go beat him. I'll go beat him. I'll go beat those guys, and then I'll handle Benavidez. That's fine. But as long as the fight happens in 2024, Canelo Benavidez needs to take priority over everything for me.
I agree.
That's what satisfies everybody. It satisfies the casual market too. It's a legacy fight. It's a legacy fight. It's Mexico versus Mexican American, Mexican national versus Mexican American. There's a rivalry there as well. There's storied history with that. That's what I want to see. I want to see him try to fight the young lion try to challenge him, like actively challenge him. Not the passive aggressive stuff they've been doing, not the no, we want this fight to fall in our lap. No, you beat Plant, you beat Andre, you earned the fight. Now
Look,
we do the fight.
it's kind of like this, bro. Like, there's one thing Canelo said that I don't personally like. And he could say what he wants, obviously, but like when he says things like, they're talking bad about me, that's not how you do things. You have to have respect. And like, I mean, bro, this is boxing, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't hopscotch. Like you guys are going to war and shit. Fighters have notoriously and historically talked a lot of shit leading into fights. You know what I mean? It's just the way, that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the sport. And to me, like, even though I'm not fond of a lot of the things Benavidez's dad has said in the past. I'm not fond of the things he said, period. At the very least, be authentic. Like even if I don't like it, be who you are. Don't be gangster one week and the next week you're apologizing. What you know what I mean? Like 1 week you're a Care Bear, and the next week you're a grizzly bear. Like nah, like bro, let's see. Like if you're gonna go at Canelo, go at Canelo. You know,
Yeah.
like if you're
That's what I want to
let's
see.
get it. Like let's do it, because it's gonna get settled in the ring anyway. At the end of the day, right? And I think the promotion for that fight would be immense. And I don't care what anybody says. And I've said this 1,000 times. I favor Canelo in that fight, Alex, but there's that, like, after the 70th round, if Canelo hasn't hurt him yet, What happens then? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's that question, and I want that question answered.
Yeah. Edwin Castillo, $2 super chat. Appreciate it. Bud Sexuals, Bud, and Minstrel Monster Clout Canelo. That is part of the game, Edwin. It's part of the game. And I think this is why this comes off as passive aggressive is it seems like it's for the payday instead of I want to challenge the throne and I want to take everything this guy has. It comes off as too passive aggressive for me. I just want to see guys say, "Hey, I'm better than Canelo Alvarez. I want to take everything that he has. I want to destroy this guy." That's what I want to see. That's the type of stuff that I want to see. That's the type of trash talk that I want to see. I don't want to see mixed signals. I don't want to see passive aggressiveness. I want to see, no, I'm going to trap this guy. I'm going to trap him. I know the WBC has their order coming in March. I get all that, but I want to see more of a force to do it, more aggressiveness, more shouting from the mountaintops, right? More of what Shakur has done at 135 and trapping these guys into having to fight him, or at least trying to give them no outs. And this is the other thing is you can't accuse someone of doing something while you're doing it at the same time, especially when you have a lot less clout going for yourself. Morrell ain't got no fights coming up after coming out of pocket with PBC and Benavidez. When you say Morrell Jr. is the next fight, Morrell Jr. is the next fight, Morrell Jr. is the next fight, Canelo's team was not even bringing up Morrell Jr. Canelo's fans were not bringing up Morrell Jr. And then Benavidez's fans accused Canelo and his fans of bringing up Morrell Jr. when nobody over here was acting like this dude existed. So now it's assumed by a lot of people that Benavidez is avoiding Morrell Jr. to go fight Boo Boo Andrade. Either way, I'm fine. Either way, I'm fine. But at the same time, Morrell Jr. is a tougher fight than Boo Boo Andrade, and you're going the Boo Boo Andrade route instead of the Morrell Jr. route. That's where I'm at with it. And this adds
At
to the
least that's
confusion.
well, that's a perception, of course, but you're right. Um, we couldn't stop hearing about all the bragging, like, oh, the Mexican monster gonna go fight Morrell and Canelo. Who's Canelo gonna fight? The whole thing's just dumb, bro. Look, I'm okay with I just need to say that, like I'm okay with the Andrade fight, right?
Me too.
But you did talk up, like you brought, like nobody was bringing up the Cuban, bro. Like nobody was talking about Morale. Nobody. Y'all brought him up,
Yeah.
right? And now you feel some type of way when people mention hey, why don't you fight Morale? We were never gonna fight Morale. Like we never sent him a contract. Like we sent him a proposal. Like, bro. Like, you know what I
They're
mean?
sending mixed signals. It's too confusing. Just be aggressive. Say, I want this, and just be aggressive.
I
One
agree.
track mind on getting it. That's it. It's making it too confusing. It's too much. It feels like too much of a clout chase. Deontay Wilder is going on a year inactive this week. October 15th, he'll be a year inactive. What is the deal? What is the deal? Is this guy going to fight? He just adds to the list of fighters, in particular PBC fighters, who just they're waiting for a payday, and then it doesn't happen. It doesn't materialize, and then eventually a year and a half will go by, and then they fight a fight, but then you don't know when you're going to see him again. This dude has fought a minute in the past 2 years. 1 minute.
Mhm.
1 minute. That's how much he's fought in the past 2 years since he lost to Tyson Fury in that trilogy.
Yeah.
It's just another guy, man. It's just a waste of talent. It's a waste of talent. And it's a frustrating career to follow because for years it was wait, he's a project. And it was like, okay, he's a project. I get it. I get it. He's not ready for contender. He's not one of the hot prospects. He's a project. Okay, I get it. Let's wait, let's wait, let's wait. And then they wait, 7 years for this Deverne fight, whatever it is, Luis Ortiz. And you think something's happening, and then they get to Tyson Fury, and then Tyson Fury happens, and then nothing happens after that. It's a
Yeah.
frustrating career to follow.
Like, look, I think here's what I'll say. I agree with everything you said. It's a shame that he's not fighting, but I want to get to the good stuff. So Leonard Ellerby. She called you out because you you don't say anything about Bivol, right? But when it comes to a PBC fighter, here you go, right? Like he's trying to implicate like that you would only say this about a PBC fighter. When you and myself, we have spent the whole year asking, where the fuck is Bivol? Like, what the hell is Bivol doing? Like, you know, like what? Like, we put him on the back of the milk carton too, Leonard. You know what I mean? Like
Before Leonard did.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Like we're gonna have to start making like milk cartons. Like, where is he? Like you know what I mean? And just have a record of it. That way, when a dude comes out and you are like again, stop assuming things about people. Like, stop assuming you wouldn't say that about Bivol. Like you know, like.
I know why he's doing that too. By the way, he's trying to put out some sort of bat signal, some race baiting bat signal. That's what he's doing.
100%. That's what it is. Like 100%. That's what it is.
But the funniest thing is he didn't have to go far. 2 minutes. 2 minutes before that, I criticized Bivol on Twitter. It's like, bro, it's right there. All you had to do was look back at one tweet. I just criticized the dude and said, this is the worst management I've ever seen in my life. Where the hell did this guy go? And that was even before I found out that Dimitri Bivol later on in the day is possibly
it's a weak sauce shit, bro. Like when you don't got an argument, right? Pull out the race card. It's just some soft ass shit. That's all it is. And it's not gonna work if we got receipts. If you're gonna say, "Oh, you would never say it about Bivol," but he did say it about Bivol. What did that say about you? It means that you would say it about Bivol, but not Wilder. That's what I'm getting.
Exactly.
Right? It's always the same thing, bro. Like it's getting annoying. Like it just is. And then you got the idiots liking and retweeting his shit. Again, they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. You're looking stupid.
And it got plenty of retweets and it got plenty of likes. And all they had to do was search back one tweet. That's all they had to do. But it doesn't matter.
Go back a little bit. You know what I mean? Just lean back a little bit. Lean back and you would have seen it. I'm just saying.
But it doesn't matter. They're all intellectually lazy, man. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And that's why I told some people I'm just going to spend less time on Twitter because that's where it seems to be the most prevalent. It's like nobody deals in nuance or critical thinking. It's just frustrating, man. It really is. But there's no excuse besides an injury. Like, what's the excuse for staying out a year? And we've said this about Bivol. Like, it's going on, 11 months? Going on 11 months. You were fighter of the year. You beat Canelo and you beat Zordo. 2 different weight classes. Or one weight class. I'm sorry, one weight class. But 2 big wins. And you enter top 5 pound for pound discussions is what you're doing. And all of a sudden you disappear.
I'll tell you what else, Calix. And I don't want to hear anybody out there playing the victim card for this dude. I don't want to hear it. Oh, it's because he's Russian. Like I'm not saying Suleiman ain't foul for the shit he's doing with Russian fighters. Don't get me wrong, right? Mm-hmm. But again, we're the show of nuance. You know, I'm just saying. There's dude. Canelo was going after this dude. He said he wanted the rematch.
Still saying it.
Canelo wanted the rematch with Bivol. That was his first option, not PBC. Yo quiero the rematch con that guy. I want to fight him again. Like he wanted to fight you again. What happened? Your management negotiated you into irrelevance. I mean, it doesn't. You don't need to be a scholar in any way, shape, or form to understand the following. The majority of people did not want to see a rematch with Bivol and Canelo. I was in the minority when it came to that. Most people did not want the rematch. Not only was there no demand for it, they were saying, we don't want it. Right? We've seen enough. We don't want to see Canelo 175. And if he does go to 175, not against Bivol, that he's not going to beat that dude. It's a waste of time. That's a consensus feeling amongst most people, right? You know that while Canelo's offering you the fight, and you try to negotiate like you have some leverage. You got no leverage because there's no demand for the fight. Like, I don't know what they offered him, 4 million, 6 million, whatever it was. That bag, you would have had that extra money, okay, a couple of weeks ago. You don't have that extra money extra weeks ago, and you got no fight.
And fight him in your weight class. He's saying, no, I want to fight you in your weight class.
And he's
Don't try to
making
go after
demands.
his
Like, no,
belt, dude. You
I
got your
want you
own
to
belts.
I want you to put your titles at 168. Like, motherfucker, we're gonna fight at 175 or what? Like you know what I mean? Like, what's up? I'm putting up the money. People are giving me shit about it. Like, they don't even want me to fight you, right? And then you're over here making it harder to make the fight. No, you make it harder when you have some fucking leverage. Andy Ruiz, right after the Joshua win, he beat Joshua in devastating fashion. He had 3 of the belts. They wanted the belts back. Yes, it was a contract saying you got to rematch the dude. But guess what? He negotiated that fight out of the UK, and he negotiated more money for that fight because he had fucking leverage. You had no leverage, dude. His management let him down. Ugly.
Big time.
Unbelievable. Like in the 11th hour, you couldn't say, all right, fine. Okay, we'll take the deal. You know what I mean? And take it out of him in the ring or something. You know, but instead, you made it harder to make a fight that people were telling Canelo not to make. Think about that. That's crazy, bro. It's like if a broad cheats on you, right? And your whole family knows. And they're saying, don't get back with her, bro. What are you doing? What are you going to get back? She cheated on you. Oh, but I love her. I want to get back with her, right? And he's trying to get back with you. And then, like, you start cheating on him some more to throw it in his face, right? Is he going to get back with you? Probably not. He already has people that know, and he already has people telling him not to. That's what happened in this situation.
It's so maddening. And then people will throw out other things. Like, if you're not going to get that fight, at least get a fight. And then they'll say stuff like, well, he's having some domestic issues. Well, that's not anybody else's fault except his. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. All I know is this dude had the momentum of fighter of the year. He had the momentum of winning the biggest fight of the year and beating Canelo. He had the momentum of getting that fight, winning the fight, and then continuing that with the Zordo fight, and then continuing that with a possible rematch for Canelo. All he had to say was, yeah, take whatever you want. I'll beat you again.
Bro, he could have probably negotiated like
bag.
Let me tell you something, bro. He could have probably negotiated another mill or something. You know what I mean? But I don't know what the hell they did. Like, Canelo wanted this fight. Everybody said, no, don't do that fight. No, we don't want it. Like, Canelo fans didn't want it. The fucking, like, boxing fans in general didn't want it. Nobody wanted the fight, right? But Canelo, like, I want my revenge. Let's do this, whatever, right? And then you're making it harder to make the fight. You throw out demands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're just giving people more reason to talk. And see, look, it's being difficult. Like he wants some more money. Dude, you had no leverage, bro.
No.
Like, I'm sorry, you just didn't. You could say it's unfair, right? But yeah, like you negotiate yourself out of the fight, and now you don't have a fight. I would rather fight Beterbiev. Well, he's not fighting you either. Nobody's fighting him, bro. Well, what do you get that back-to-back win? And then, like, if Canelo beats you and it's controversial, you may get a trilogy out of it, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, man, that I never seen something like this. This is crazy.
It's insane what people are doing. And to add that to the fact that a guy like Frank Martin's turning down over $1 million for a fight. It's insane. It's insane what these fighters are doing.
Makes no sense. He thinks he's worth more, whatever it is, makes no sense. And look, maybe if he's lucky, he gets an offer for another fight for the same money against a lesser opponent. Good luck with that, though.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that, because PBC ain't got money. And the one thing Al Heyman doesn't do that I've seen other promoters, he doesn't take money out of his own pocket.
No.
Like, if someone's not subsidizing the money for him, he ain't giving you shit.
Mm-mm.
It's easy to be giving and give these high purses when it's not your money. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to do that, right? But the game is changing. It's changing quick. What horrible timing, too. Like, you turn on the Shakur fight, right? And then you find out that PBC is no longer going to be with Showtime, and now you don't even know now you don't know what the hell's going to happen, right? Where you could have had a secure bag already, right? We're gonna see what happens with that. But there's a lot of bizarre shit going on. But I hope this is the start of a reset, Alex. We're resetting. You know what I mean?
I hope so
A
too.
nice good old reset.
I hope you're right about that. One of the last topic I wanted to hit on. Who do you think will be your fighter of the year at the end of the year if things play out the way you think they will? Because this became a hot topic yesterday and it lasted well into today on Twitter. I
Lots of
think
fighters.
Ring IQ started it. Somebody's saying they think Devin Haney should be fighter of the year if he beats Prograis. A lot of people are saying in a
For
way.
sure.
Where do you stand on it?
Look, this is where I stand with it. I set this back in June on the roundtable. We had
Yeah.
the mid-year awards, and I said everybody was saying, "Oh, the winner of Crawford Spencer, winner of Crawford Spencer, winner of Crawford," and I said, "No, it's going to be Inoue," and I'm still riding with that. I think Inoue. When did he fight Butler? What month was that?
Butler was last year.
Okay, so never mind about that. But
I think
still,
that was
Fulton,
December. But the Stephen Fulton Jr. and Tapales.
yeah, Tapales is an okay win, but the Stephen Fulton Jr. is a really good win, and the way he won, and to add another fight to it that's undisputed, is that
Yeah.
cherry on top. So Crawford has that big win, but where's the cherry on top? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can't really put Canelo there, but he's like top 5, like when it comes to fight of the year, in my opinion. I think the Ryder wins a solid win, and I think Jamal wins a solid win. But
Mhm.
another guy to consider, and many are not going to agree with this because of the level of opposition, but because of his activity and the wins are solid, and depending on how he wins next week, I mean, Tim Zill's in the discussion.
Mhm.
And I don't even know, Tim Zill might be back before the end of the year. Might, right? But I would still put Inoue above it.
Yeah. This is the issue I have with Devin Haney being fighter of the year if he beats Prograis.
Mhm.
I think it's a subjective award and it's a personal award, right? Unless you're part of a publication and everybody gets together and you have a ratings panel and all that. It's a personal award for you have your fighter of the year, I have mine. Publications, blogs have theirs, YouTube channels have theirs. The issue that I have personally with putting Haney as fighter of the year is I don't think he beat Lomachenko. So to me, it sort of takes away from the victory. Yes, officially he got it. He'll always have that. And victors write the history. He'll always have that. 10 years from now, people are going to remember Devin Haney beat Lomachenko to defend undisputed. And it's a great win on paper, but I saw what I saw, and I still feel like Lomachenko is a better fighter than Devin Haney, even at this age. Um, and I thought Lomachenko won 7, 8 rounds in that fight. I
Yeah,
saw him
and we
completely
got to
take
grade it
Haney's
though,
jab
right?
away.
But we got to grade it a little bit. Like, okay, that's Haney's big win, right? Well, even if you thought Haney won, Crawford dominated Spence. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? In a way, annihilated Fulton.
Yeah.
Like that, like there's levels to how they won. And even if you want to argue, but I think Loma's better than Fulton. Yeah, but by how much? And look how these other guys won.
Mhm.
That's something you really got to look at. Um, and we have yet to see if it's going to be Prograis. That's another different story. But and how he
Yeah.
looks in that fight,
Mhm.
because I never seen a guy get picked so much by domination yet not dominate. Like you know what I mean? The only fights he really dominated were the Camboza's fights, to his credit, but he didn't dominate. That's not the right word for the JoJo fight. It just isn't.
Or
Um,
Linares.
Linares, he didn't dominate Linares. People were picking him to win by a wipeout against Loma. I thought they were crazy, right? That tells me people are overvaluing him. That's what that tells me. If the
Mhm.
results are not matching what a lot of people are predicting, they're predicting Haney to win by domination against Loma. Like, you know, he's going to wipe him out. He's going to sweep him 12-0. You know what I mean? He's going to make easy work of Linares. He's going to make easy work. They weren't easy work, these fights. A
Mhm.
lot of them. They just weren't. So tell me, it's whatever. A lot of people keep saying, he's going to make easy work of Prograis. We'll see.
Good
You
luck.
know, because you've been saying that for a lot of his fights against guys that are not as good as Prograis. So look, and if he does dominate Prograis, he deserves all the credit in the world. Like I don't think people realize when you're just dismissing Prograis, you're taking away from Haney's win if he does happen to win in that fashion. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But did you hear the big news, Alex?
What's that?
That Adamas was in the Adamas was in the Adamas was in the run. He was in the running, bro. He was ahead of the sweepstakes.
It's Thank you to Chicano for bringing that up because I totally forgot about it. And when I saw this last week, D style, I said
Was it
nothing
last
against
week?
the.
It was a couple of days ago, wasn't it?
This was a couple days ago, yeah, over the weekend, I think. But when this was broken, and it was it was Tank versus Thurman when that broke a month ago. They were supposed to fight December 9th. First of all, and look, man, nothing against anybody. It's just when I see these news flashes break from certain areas, I say no, 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 and then they don't make any sense. Is the problem? And I said that's just not going to age well. I think it was Friday. I saw it. That one's not going to age well. And I wanted to tweet about it, but I was like, I'm just going to enjoy my weekend.
Look, I
And I know
responded
this is
to
going to fall
Broadway
apart.
Joe. It's whatever. I responded to him and I said that fight's not happening. I don't care if Jesus Christ himself dropped from the heavens and told you. I wouldn't have believed him, bro.
But it happens every time. This is the Canelo news cycle? It happens every time. It was Berlanga last year,
That's
remember?
not
Or
even
it's
the
supposed to be
crazy
Berlanga.
thing, though. Like the crazy thing is this. It's the YouTube channel. I know Chicano told me about some of them that were coming out like saying like, oh, can you believe the Adamas news? And the Canelo fans were all for it. Like, and I'm like, what? Like Canelo, this Canelo syndrome you talk about, the arrangement syndrome,
Yeah.
it extends beyond just Canelo. Like it extends like they've created this fictional army of these Canelo fans, like this army, bro. You know what I mean? Like I've seen
Mhm.
the movie 300 when they're being invaded by this huge army of like they think these Canelo fans are on elephants and shit, like that's coming after them. You know what I mean? Um, are there hardcore Canelo fans that go a little too far? Yes, there is. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying there isn't. I just think what happens is like they see one and they see two or three. Oh man, they act like there's
Mhm.
a whole like sea of people acting this way, right? And it's like maybe some Canelo fans said he's okay with the fight. I guess maybe I didn't see
I didn't
any,
even
but
see that this time. I didn't even see that
yeah,
this time.
I didn't see that at all. But let's say that someone did. That's like enough for these dudes with this Canelo derangement syndrome to make it a thing. Like you know what I mean? Like they say some of the craziest things, bro. Like they just do. Like, oh, these Canelo fans are the worst. Nobody's worse than them. Like I didn't see Canelo fans make up a Glovegate conspiracy theory where they said that his trainer drugged him, and this trainer happened to be like an Olympic gold medalist, and like I haven't seen some shit. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Some of the shit I seen some Spence fans say, like, are you shitting me, bro? And you find me the most hardcore Canelo fan, the most unreasonable one. They did not make some shit up like that. They didn't say that Reynoso drugged Canelo in a fight with Bivol. Like didn't happen. They didn't say Bivol had horseshoes in his gloves, right? None of that, bro. Like I'm just saying. What
But
that mean?
the Adamas, just to address that thing real quick, is because I don't want to make this personal because it's nothing like that. But when I saw it break, I was like, that's not good. That's not. And I thought to myself, my initial thought was nobody's gonna believe that. There's just no way
I'll
anybody's
tell you
gonna
what I
believe.
thought.
What did you think?
I honestly thought, I swear to God, and I said this to Chicano on the phone. I said, I have a feeling this is a what do you call it? A social experiment where he was gonna like kind of like put it out there and be like, see, this is what the media does. They just say sources say, But
Mhm.
I come on, guys, I didn't believe that. I just made it up. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I thought, but apparently not. I don't know. Like,
I didn't think that. My initial thought was, number one, there's no way anybody's gonna believe this. And then I saw the comments and I was like, oh, they're doing it again. They're doing it again. And it's the CDS sufferers that we talked about, right? It is so easy to get the anti-Canelo base and to whip them into a frenzy. It is so easy.
well, it was so
And this proves
unlikely.
that.
You know how we do the projections? Like this would be like 100%. Like not a like it was like
Right.
100. And then like the
But
other
there was
side breaks to the negatives. Like it goes the other way. You know, like
He already said, "I'm not fighting till May." They're not gonna break news of a fight like this 9 months before the next fight. It's just not gonna happen. And clearly what this was my second thought. After I watched this gain traction, I was like, they're trying to gain traction. They're trying to get it out there that Canelo versus Adames and try to whip up some sort of, and they're using their friendly media because this is what happens. And they use the guys on spaces,
so I
use the
think he
guys.
got used.
Yes, yes, and it was obvious from the beginning that, dude, somebody's
So
using
you,
you
you think
as
he
a
didn't
sword.
realize it? Is what he's saying.
I think so.
Okay.
I think they're willing to use certain guys. They're not worried about the credibility of that guy. Willing to use certain guys to put out their propaganda to see if it'll gain traction, and they're not worried that that guy has false information. They're willing to use that guy, and that's why you have to be careful breaking news that is clearly wrong. If somebody would have given me that breaking story right there, I would have said, okay, okay, okay. And I would have never said anything about it because there's just no way. There's just no way I would have broke that story.
Yeah,
No
that's
way.
like telling me the world is flat. Like you know what I mean? Like oh, I'm telling you the world is flat. Like
There's
okay,
no Canelo versus Adames for
bro,
May in
Adames can't
September.
even get the WBC to name him full champion when Charlo hasn't fought in 900 days. But he's gonna get the Canelo fight. But here's the thing, though. Maybe you're right. Maybe I mean, look, it's the elephant in the room. I'm just gonna say the name, Broadway Joe. It's. Maybe you're right, man. Maybe they gave him some information. They assured him, "Hey, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you." And he went
Yeah.
out and he put it out there, right? But he did come out and he did retract the whole thing, though.
Good for
So
him.
yeah,
Good for him. And that's why I thought this was going to age poorly, slower. But credit to him, he said I can't. He came out and he even said that from the minute clip that I said. And I don't know who he is, but I saw from the minute clip that he said I could have been used here. So he's even throwing himself out there and he's putting out tweets. I hope to read. So good for him. Good for him. You know, I said this about what's his name. I forgot the fighter who lost his spot on the zone for the Conor Ben fight. His name slips my mind at the time being. And certain guys will say the right things at the right time. You got to give them credit for that. But this was clearly being used to try to get Adamas's name. Adamas, I'm watching him tweet too. If this is even him, he's got 1,100 followers. And I'm like, I've got twice as many followers as this guy. And I'm supposed to believe that he's going to get the Canelo fight.
you see how he came out? He's like, I know you guys are mad that I'm going to be the one getting the fight, but I'll give him
Yeah.
a better fight than Jermall. And
Which is
did you see my
believable,
response?
by the way. That's believable.
But did you see my response?
Uh-uh.
Well, I said, no one's mad at you because you're getting the Canelo fight, no more than we're mad at someone for saying the world's ending tomorrow.
Yeah.
Neither is happening. Like, that we're just saying it's not going to happen. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It is what it is. I don't, 99% of people did not believe that. I don't know why that was the most random news of the weekend. So,
And it was just like the Tank versus Keith Thurman breaking news for December 9 all over again. When that guy broke that news, I saw who broke it and I said he's being used. Somebody's using this guy because he has a lot of followers to get this out there for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe
plus,
maybe it's a
another
social
thing,
experiment. Maybe they're seeing how the market will demand how
I
the market
agree.
will.
This is just an FYI to all content creators. Okay. Um, Speaking for myself, I'm sure Calix has had his own experiences, but look, I get told a lot of things, guys. Okay.
Mhm.
And I don't just come out and say it. Like I don't just come out and like because half of the time, like there's been writers that have hit me up and been like, oh, I'm not gonna name who he is, but like 2 years ago was telling me that somebody was gonna fight Canelo. He's like, we should go live on your channel so we could talk about it. And I asked him, like, so who told you? An anonymous source. Just one? Yeah. I'm not gonna go live, bro, and tell everybody Canelo's gonna fight some dude, and that's all I got. I'm just not gonna do it, bro. Like, boxing's too fucking fluid for that. There's too many moving parts, and it's like the telephone game. This whole game is a bunch of chismosos, right? Some guy, you know, the telephone game. You whisper to something and somebody else, and then somebody else, and by the time you get to 30 people, like the whole story has turned into he's gonna fight Adamas. You know, who knows, right? But
you need 3 sources.
You need a multitude of sources. You got to make sure those sources are not connected to each other, right? Mm-hmm. And you also have to use your intuition, and you have to use your common sense. You have to ask yourself, does this make any sense, right? I'll be honest. If somebody told me that, if somebody told me, oh, he's going to fight a dom, I swear on my mother's grave, he's going to fight a dom, and they would have told me that, I would have said, tell you what, I'll put it out there, but I want to record you saying it. And if it turns out that it's not true, I'm going to air you out.
Yeah.
So are you sure it's going to happen? I guarantee you the attitude's going to change immediately. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but if they're supposedly insisting you put it out there, right, that you need to get your sources straight. You got to use your common sense. And this whole game is a bunch of chismosos, bro. I've been told shit that I just don't come out and say. There's some things I know, I sit on it. I don't go out there and allude to it and talk about it because it's not my place to do it. And then it doesn't, just because somebody on the inside tells you something, it doesn't mean it's true. They're wrong. I see people put out reports for fight dates and everything, and it turns out it's not even the correct date. You know what I mean? Like it happens all the time. Doesn't mean they're flat out lying. It just means that boxing's fluid, things change, right? So you shouldn't put things out there as a matter of fact unless it is from the source. My issue was this. He said he got it from the horse's mouth. I don't even know what that means. Are you saying Adamas told you that? Who told you? Like, if it's Adamas, how the fuck does Adamas know? And why would Adamas be truthful about it? I mean, there's so many questions to ask before you get to the point. You know what I mean? Before you put the information out there. And another thing, the ones, the orejas, the dudes that keep telling people everything, all right? Like, how much do they really know? Because obviously nobody could tell these people anything in confidence because they spill the beans all the time. Anyone who's always spilling the beans is not someone you could trust with confidential information. So how much do they really know? Right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just saying. And another thing. Look, there's an old trick. They do it in prisons. They do it in the mafia. They do it in cartels. They do it in all types of shit. They even do it in government. Right? You tell somebody a secret, and then when that comes out, you find out right away that person's trustworthy or not. Okay? Because you actually you fed them bullshit. So my warning to all boxing media out there, just because you're told something from an insider or you're told somebody on the inside or like, just ask yourself, what are the conflicts of interest first, right? If the manager of a fighter who manages that fighter tells you something, right? It doesn't mean by definition it's not true, but there's obviously a conflict of interest in telling you the truth if that truth compromises your own fighter, right? That's common sense. Mm-hmm. So start using your judgment better, right? Because at the end of the day, if you come out and say sources say and they make you look stupid, you're the one that looks stupid, not them, right? Because they're just a source and no one knows who the source is, right? When you get information, don't just believe in and run with it, bro. Right? Yeah. I get that shit all the time. I get told by fighters, "Oh, I'm going to fight this guy," and then it never even happens half the time, right? Because guys are told there's a lot of shit in the business that's told. Colleges in Los Angeles hearing stories, you know, it is what it is. Half of them probably weren't true, right? I don't even know they're lies or shit just changes every day. but just be careful with the information you put out. That's my advice of the day.
And to add to the circle of stupidity, and this is where I'll end it, is the anti-Canelo fans are going to have to, or they won't. Either way, I'm just trying to give friendly advice. Because some of these guys are good people. They just happen to not like Canelo and they react to every little thing. You have to stop reacting to every little thing. The dude just fought and it's 8 months until his next fight. Just relax. Just
Chill.
relax. Just relax. You don't have to react to a news of him possibly fighting Adamas or him saying, I don't care who it is next. Just relax and wait to see what happens. That's all you have to do. Just wait. We've told you about this. I've told you about this. You're going to get your fight that you've been saying for 2 years you want in 2024. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. So just sit back and relax. Just relax. Just relax. That's all you need to do is just sit back and
Hey,
relax.
I
Canelo's going to
just
give
want
you
to
your
know
fight.
though, like who's this dude that keeps giving information to Coppinger and like boxing needs to clean itself up, bro. Like you have too many snitches out here. Like you know what I mean? I'm just saying. That or a lot of dudes are just making shit up. You know what I mean? It's one or the other, but clean the shit
Mhm.
up. Seriously.
Clean it up. On that note, we're on your channel Wednesday. Is that right?
Wednesday around the same time as this show. You guys tune in. And tonight in the ring with Christine, we'll be talking about the Fury Usyk fight.
And on Thursday, where are we at? Your channel or Beef's channel on the
It's gonna
round?
be on Beef's channel. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? My channel. Thursday. Actually, it is the 3-year anniversary of the Round Table, so it's a big show. And tune in. It's episode 152. Can't wait.
There we go. We are out. Y'all have a great Monday. Peace.